All right, let's just dive right in. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're taking a massive shortcut to success. Seriously, imagine locking yourself in a room and reading 40 of the top business and wealth building books ever written. Sounds exhausting, right? Well, you don't have to do that because we've already done it for you. We cut through all the fluff, the filler, the noise, and distilled that massive library into a pure, actionable blueprint for building wealth from the ground up. And look, this isn't just theoretical stuff. This is the proven DNA of successful enterprises.
So here's our cognitive roadmap for this explainer. We've got 4 distinct phases. We're going to start with absolutely no money, learn to sell anything to anyone, figure out how to market your business, and finally, manage your money like the top 1%. Let's get to it.
Phase 1. Start with no money. Listen, lacking capital, it's not an excuse to just stay stagnant. In fact, some of the greatest businesses ever were born not from a mountain of cash, but from founders who radically leveraged what they already had. Now, traditional society conditions us to focus on fixing our weaknesses, right? But the playbook says we need to flip that. Follow the path of least resistance and multiply your strengths instead. There's a great concept from the book Strength Finder 2.0 that says your actual strength is a simple equation: talent times investment. Think of it like this. If you took an average golfer and a 13-year-old Tiger Woods and you gave them the exact same amount of practice hours, Tiger's inherent talent creates this unstoppable multiplier effect. Every single hour he practices is basically equal to 10 of yours. So find your powerful multiplier and start treating your weaknesses as an expense you just need to outsource or minimize.
Okay, so how do we actually launch? Well, it really comes down to 3 steps. First, you need an idea. But not just any idea. You need what's called a contrarian truth. Basically, a reality about the future that most people just aren't aware of yet. Think about Steve Jobs for a second. Everyone was obsessed with the BlackBerry and its physical keyboard. Jobs bet on the contrarian truth that people actually didn't want physical buttons. He went entirely against the grain, built the iPhone, and honestly, eliminated the competition before they even knew what hit them. After you find your truth, your next step is to map out the 9 core building blocks of your business model. You need a clear plan before you spend a single dime. And finally, you build an MVP.
So what is a minimum viable product? An MVP is basically your bare bones prototype. The harsh truth is that entrepreneurs waste months, sometimes years, building things that nobody actually wants to buy. Instead, you've got to prove undeniable product demand first. Look at the founder of Dropbox. He didn't have the money or the time to build a massive, fully functioning file storage network right out of the gate. So what did he do? He just made a simple, fake video showing how his future product would work. The product didn't even exist yet, but that free video exploded his waiting list from 5,000 to 75,000 people almost overnight. I mean, that is the true power of an MVP.
Moving on to phase 2, sell anything to anyone.
Whether you're trying to win over your boss, negotiate with a parent, or close a massive client, persuasion is a critical survival skill. But you know what? Most people fail before they even ask for what they want, simply because they don't set the frame. Consider this incredibly clever price anchoring strategy. There's this story of a consultant whose clients kept pushing back and demanding discounts. So he completely changed his framing. Before giving his quote, he'd joke, "Well, as you can see, I can't exactly charge you $1 million for this." And by throwing out that ridiculously high anchor, the client's resistance just completely dropped. When he then named his actual fee of $75,000, it suddenly sounded entirely reasonable, and nobody asked for a discount again. Brilliant, right?
But what happens when you meet heavy resistance? Well, you use this exact question. How am I supposed to do that? In the book Never Split the Difference, this is called a calibrated question. It brilliantly transforms a confrontational, one-sided negotiation into a collaborative problem-solving session. Like, if a landlord wants to unfairly raise your rent, instead of fighting them, you genuinely ask, "How am I supposed to pay that when I only make this much?" It completely flips the script. It forces the other person to look at your constraints and actually help you solve your problem. It's honestly a communication superpower.
All right, phase 3, market your business. Here's a massive reality check. Having the greatest, most persuasive product in the world is entirely useless if nobody knows it exists. To stand out, you have to be what legendary marketer Seth Godin calls the purple cow. Imagine you're driving down a country road. You pass hundreds of brown cows. You don't even notice them, right? They're completely ordinary. That is what everyday marketing looks like. But if you drove past a bright purple cow, you would absolutely slam on the brakes, get out of your car, and take a selfie. It forces you to stop and talk about it. Your business has to be that purple cow. You must offer a unique value proposition that is so genuinely remarkable that people are literally compelled to share it.
Once you finally have their attention, how do you keep it? You use the story brand framework. See, most businesses fail because they act like they are the hero of the story. But let's be real, nobody cares about your business. Everyone sees themselves as the main character. So your marketing needs to position the customer as the hero, facing a massive problem, and introduce your business simply as the trusted guide who can help them overcome it. If you make them the hero, they will sit up and listen for sure.
And once they trust you as the guide, you introduce the value ladder. Think about how seamlessly a dentist does this. They don't start off by pitching you a $10,000 cosmetic surgery, right? No way. They get you in the door with a low-cost, simple checkup. Once you're comfortable, they step you up to a cleaning, then maybe some teeth whitening. And before you know it, you're ascending the ladder to their highest ticket items. You have to design a clear path that effortlessly upsells your existing customers by starting small and just continuously delivering value.
And finally, Phase 4. Manage money like the 1%. I really want to inject some urgency here because failing to master these financial concepts is exactly why 1 in 3 people making over $100,000 a year are still living paycheck to paycheck. So I want you to honestly answer this question. If all revenues stopped tomorrow, could your business survive for 3 months? If your answer is no, then you are financially out of shape. Financial laziness is incredibly sneaky, you know? You don't see it in the mirror every morning. You can just brush it under the rug until the exact moment your business collapses. We need to fix this math immediately.
And we fix it by completely flipping the formula. Traditional math tells us that sales minus expenses equals profit. But what happens? Ambitious entrepreneurs end up pumping all their sales back into the business, their expenses shoot up, and the profit, well, it never actually comes. The playbook flips this. Sales minus profit equals expenses. By extracting your profit first, you restrict what's left over. This completely forces you to become highly efficient and guarantees that you don't just bleed cash as you scale your operations. It's a real game changer.
Now, check out this shocking number, 99.5%. Of the IRS's 5,800 pages of tax code, only about 30 pages actually address how to pay taxes. The other 99.5%, it's specifically written to help citizens legally avoid taxes and build wealth by stimulating the economy. Understanding this is exactly why the top 1% hire great accountants to leverage the rules, rather than letting themselves be crushed by them.
As you build wealth, you're inevitably going to deal with a ton of outside noise. Consider the famous Mr. Market analogy from the book The Intelligent Investor. Imagine you own a business, and every single day a partner named Mr. Market knocks on your door shouting wild emotional valuations about what your business is worth. One day he is completely euphoric, the next day he's panicking. The smartest entrepreneurs don't let Mr. Market's emotional roller coaster dictate their reality. Smart wealth management relies on rational, cold, hard data.
To prove exactly how easily our brains are tricked into making emotional or overly fast decisions, let's do a fast-paced brain teaser together. A bat and a ball cost $1.10 total. The bat costs exactly $1 more than the ball. So, how much is the ball? Quick, what's your gut answer?
If you're like most people, your intuitive, fast System 1 brain probably just screamed 10 cents. But actually, that's wrong. Think about it. If the ball was 10 cents and the bat was $1 more, meaning $1.10, the total would be $1.20. The actual highly counterintuitive answer is 5 cents. The ball is 5 cents, the bat is $1.05. This beautifully illustrates why mitigating business risks absolutely requires you to slow down. Fast intuitive thinking traps us all the time. Slowing down to engage your analytical System 2 brain is exactly what separates the top 1% from the rest of the pack.
And that brilliantly brings us to our ultimate conclusion. We've extracted the gold from 40 of the greatest business minds out there. We've shown you how to multiply your strengths, prove your product, expertly frame your sales, position your customer as the hero, and force your business to actually be profitable. The blueprint is fully drawn. So the only question remaining is, will you step up and actually build it? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I highly encourage you to take these insights, apply them today, and start building your own wealth. Catch you next time.